Welcome to episode 21 of SYQH Radio. Now, I'm David, and if you haven't been listening, welcome. I'm here, and this show is here to bring you clarity. It's here to bring you strategy. It's here to bring you perspective so you can make confident real estate decisions and, more importantly, confident real estate moves. So whether you're thinking about selling now or just planning ahead, you're in the right place. Now, this is all about being able to have New York real estate explained. And if you own a home in New York and real estate has been on your mind even a tiny bit, you're in the right place. So stay here. Now, one of the most common questions that I've been hearing over the last few years and over the last few months is now the right time to sell or should I wait? That's what homeowners are asking whenever we speak to them. And it really depends. It's a question that isn't about just the market headlines, right? That's what makes the question hard, is that it isn't market headlines, and it's more than that. Selling a home is emotional, it's financial, and it's deeply personal. So today I want to help you think about this decision clearly, without pressure, without hype, and without fear. I just want you to get an idea of how you can make this a reality, right? So here's the problem. Most people try to answer the should I sell question by only looking at the market. Interest rates, prices, news headlines, what a neighbor sold for, my family's advice, my great-great-great-grandfather who bought a house 75 years ago's advice, But in reality, the right time to sell has less to do with the market and more with your personal situation. Now, don't get me wrong, the market matters, yes, right? But it's only one piece of the puzzle. See, the three questions that you need to ask yourself that really matter the most, more than any market, is, well, here are the following, right? The first one, and the most basic and yet most challenging, is, has your life changed? So most real estate moves don't start with the market. They start with life. You have growing families, you have empty nesters, you have job changes, health needs also change, there's divorce, inheritance, lifestyle changes. Life is just life. And if your home no longer fits your life, that's something the market, is not going to fix by you waiting. The second question that you really have to focus on is, what is staying really costing you? See, a lot of homeowners think that waiting is doing nothing, right? But waiting has a hidden cost. You have maintenance costs, right? You have repairs. You have the stress that builds up over time. You have missed opportunities where there's potential, homes that go on the market that might have been your dream home, or, maybe a diamond in the rough. There's a lot of things that could go on, and that missed opportunity could come back to haunt you a little bit. There's carrying expenses, which includes the mortgage, which includes taxes. Maybe you have a multifamily and you got one of the tenants out, so now even, you're having a lack of that income. So sometimes the question isn't, will prices go up? It's, what is staying here costing me emotionally, financially, or even mentally right now? Now, the third question that is deeply impactful is, do you have clarity or just uncertainty? See, most people delay selling not because it's the wrong time, but because they don't have enough information. They don't know what their home is actually worth, what they net after selling, which is extremely important, because what you want to list for, what you want to sell for, is nowhere near as important as what you're going to net after selling. That's after all the fees and costs are taken out. You have what's called, what we present at the beginning, which is a seller net sheet that allows you to see exactly where the funds are going and how much you're going to walk away with after everything is paid off at the closing table. So you need to know that. And then you also have to know what your next move could look like. You got to know what your options are. Are you going to downsize to a condo or a co-op? Are you upgrading to a larger condo or to finally to a single family home? Or are you going to have multi-generational living in a multifamily situation? So you got to know what that looks like. And then you have to know what the process really unfolds like. You have to know, okay, I know where I'm going. Now I need to know how I'm getting there. And at the end of the day, in reality, uncertainty is what creates paralysis, right? Clarity creates confidence, and it creates motion. It creates a result, because once you're confident, you know what you're going to do, and then you take the first steps. And now let's talk about the market calmly, right? Let's talk about it honestly. Right now, you have in New York, you have micro markets within the city itself, right? In each borough, there are certain neighborhoods that are selling like hotcakes, and then there are others that take a little longer. At the end of the day, price has a lot to do with it, condition, of course, location. But what we have to look at for the market is holistically, markets change. They always will, right? They always have. But good decisions aren't made by trying to perfectly time the market. They're made by understanding your options within the market that you're in. Because despite all the things I just talked about, if those things aren't impacting your lifestyle change, then lifestyle change is what matters, right? If you need to move, then you need to move. Now, there's only the right time for you, and that's given your goals, your equity, your timeline, your tolerance for stress, and then your next chapter. So that's not something that the market could decide for you. That's not something your favorite real estate agent could, decide for you, as much as some of us would like to. That's very personal, and that's something that you have to decide, is it worth it? But as a trusted professional, one of the things that realtors do, at least I can speak for myself on my behalf, is give you the tools and the knowledge, the information to be able to see how that matches your goals, how your equity matches, the type of property you might be looking into, how we can make your timeline a reality, how we can be proactive and reduce as much of the unnecessary problems that come up in a transaction. There's always problems that come up in a deal. It's just a matter of how do we get in front of them to prevent as many as possible, and then how do we, start a solution to the problems that we see coming that are unavoidable, And then with all that being said, there has to be a shift in thinking that I would really like you to have, right? And instead of asking, is now the right time to sell, which again is a question that's very common, and I get it, totally get it. I wouldn't, if I wasn't in the business, I would totally be asking that question when I put myself in a particular, seller's shoes, right? Or homeowner's shoes. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into building this home, right? For me and my family. I don't want to leave any money on the table. I want to make sure that I make as much as possible. And I want to reduce my risks. I want to make sure that when I'm moving, there's not that much that I have to worry about. At the bare minimum, what people are thinking is, I don't want to get screwed, right? So instead of asking yourself, is now the right time to sell? Ask yourself, what information do you need in order to make the best decision for yourself? Now, at the end of the day, you don't need to commit to selling. You just need to commit to getting that clarity, right? And that's something that we really pride ourselves on, and we want to be able to help you get that clarity so that there are no questions. You're not utterly confused by what the next step is or where did that come from. We really want you to be prepared, armed with the knowledge, the know-how, and the trust in us to be able to guide you through that process, right? And that's what this show is about and is going to be about. It's about giving you clarity. It's about helping you think strategically, and it's making sure that you don't make a major decision based on pressure or noise. And what I mean by noise is, instead of listening to friends, relatives, the news, even your neighbors, we want you to make sure that you can kind of get away from all that and understand, even on the news perspective, a lot of what they're talking about is on a national or on a city level, and it's not at a hyper local level. So you really need to know how things are at a micro level in order to have even more information, right? And to have more perspective and allow you to make a more well-informed decision that could be strategically beneficial to you and your family. And we take away that noise through information and through guidance, because with our experience, that's what we're here to do. We guide you. And yeah, we do have to hit some hurdles when it comes to people that are trying to influence your decision. And at the end of the day, you're the boss, right? You make that decision, but we're here to provide you with the tools necessary to make the right choice. And now, if this topic resonates with you, whether selling your home is a real possibility now or just something that you're considering, I'm always happy to have that conversation. There's no pressure, no obligation, just guidance specific to your situation. So if you'd like to reach out to us, please feel free to reach out to dgarcia@kw.com. You could always call or text 917-982-8899. And as always, thank you so much for listening to SYQH Radio, New York Real Estate Explained. Because if you found this helpful, I only ask that you share this with someone who owns a home and has been quietly wondering what their next move might be. I want to be able to help as many people as I can with this platform moving forward. And if you want clarity around your own options, reach out anytime. You don't have to have all the answers. At the end of the day, that's why I'm here. I'm here to provide them for you, and if I don't have the exact answer, I'll know where to go to get that answer, or at least I'll find a way to that answer for you. So I look forward to talking to you guys soon, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care, guys.